Live from Toast Studios in New York City, it's the Hospitality Hangout Podcast with the restaurant guy and the finance guy. Did I say Toast Studios?
Not yet.
I didn't.
I didn't hear it.
I did.
You said Toast Studios.
Oh, great. Well, Toast empowers the restaurant community to delight guests, do what they love, and thrive. Toast. Tab.com. ToastTab.com.
Well done. Well done. And I like that our guest got involved early. Like we needed him to bail us out at the top of the first.
Damn.
Top of the first. We brought in the big writing.
I need a story, Jimmy. The only thing that can chill me out.
All right, listen. I want to welcome everyone more formally to the Hospitality Hangout, a hospitality-focused podcast where the founders of Brandon Hospitality Group share their insights and bring technology and innovation leaders that are making things happen in the industry we love. My name is Jimmy Frischling, otherwise known as the Finance Guy, and I will pass it back to my boy Shatsy, Mr. Michael Schatzberg, also known as the Restaurant Guy.
And thank you for that kind introduction, Jimmy. And all those listening, feel free to call me Shatsy. And we are the
personalities
behind Branded Hospitality.
Oh, yeah, like you blend.
We are at the intersection, Jimmy, of hospitality, technology, restaurants, innovation, capital, investments, and everything that has to do with scheduling. Jimmy,
scheduling.
Nobody likes scheduling more than me. I love scheduling your schedule. And am I right? Huh?
You do like scheduling my schedule.
I love it. And by the way, I got a whole bunch of cancellations today. What happened? I mean, I had like lunch plans with you in like June. You canceled it today. What happened?
You sent a whole bunch of old, I think you must have accepted all these old invites.
Is that what it was?
And I was like, all right, if you're going to send me old invites, I'm going to say no thank you to the old invites.
It was like June lunch. I'm like, why doesn't Jimmy have lunch with me in June?
Because it was last June.
Oh, it was last June.
So
did we have lunch?
We had lunch.
Did we enjoy it?
I remembered it was a fabulous experience.
It was, right?
It was.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, Jimbo, I got to tell you, let's just jump into it because we got a lot of guests, and from what I understand, we're very short on time. Time is of the essence here.
It's a very valuable commodity, but we're not going to rush through this. We have a very special guest in studio. We often have guests that do this remotely, but we have a guest and our friend, Mr. Will Brawley, co-owner of ScheduleFly and the host of the podcast, Restaurant Owners Uncorked, who has driven up to the great city of New York, so great we named it twice, with his daughter Bella, who's out there on the floor of B-Works. That's a treat for us. Will and I traded hats. I'm wearing ScheduleFly. Yes. It's all about the fly today. He's going all branded.
I got a haircut. I didn't feel like...
You got a haircut?
I wanted everyone to see how gorgeous this haircut.
So we have the privilege of having not just a fellow and respected podcaster, but someone who's one of the industry's favorite sons. So Will thinks we're going to bring him into the episode, but if he's ever listened to any of our episodes, he knows, be patient, Will, because our podcasts get released on Tuesdays. Trivia Tuesday, we call it. I'm going to give you 3 factoids about our friend Will, and later in the episode, Shaggy's going to guess which 2 are true and which one is a not truth, also known as a lie. So here are the 3 factoids about our friend Will. Fact 1, Will's family drove in an RV from Charlotte, North Carolina to Boulder, Colorado. And then the family flew home and Will drove back by himself.
I can see that.
I can see that too.
That's a very classic story.
I can see that.
Very typical story.
It's going to be one big family outing.
And there can be so many reasons as to why he drove home by himself. But I think all those dads out there are saying, you know what?
That's true.
That's it. I'm driving by myself. You're making me nuts.
Okay, fact 2. Factoid 2, Will is a tractor driver. I got to say, if you follow Will on LinkedIn, you might say that's an obvious one. But again, words matter here, folks. Words matter. He's a tractor driver. And fact 3, Will only has 9 toes. And Chatsy has no reason to look. He's wearing not just socks, but shoes and socks.
You know something, Jimmy? It's interesting.
You can tie the tractor and the toes.
But we had another guest that talked about they either had an extra something or less something. Remember?
We did.
We had a guest, Julie. Julie, who did we have that had like either an 11th toe or a 9th toe or was missing a toe? Julie?
Julie's gone.
Oh, she's gone?
Once we turned on the record, but she's like, all right, I'm out of here.
She's out.
I'm out.
Oh, wow. Our producer's gone.
She's gone. We're on our own, but that's okay. And remember, fact 1, Will's family drove in an RV from Charlotte, North Carolina to Boulder, Colorado. The family flew home and made Will drive by himself, back home by himself. Fact 2, Will's a tractor driver. Fact 3, Will has 9 toes. Stick around to the end of the episode, and Shatsy will play Trivia Tuesday.
Yeah, I love it.
And now, Shatsy, we must be ready to bring Will into the episode.
We're almost ready.
We're almost ready, you think?
We are almost ready because I like to say, how did Will, become the founder, CEO, chairman of ScheduleFly?
ScheduleFly.
How does that happen? And I've spoken to Will many times, so I know the story, but I don't think our listeners know the story.
All right, let's tell our listeners the story.
So I'm going to take you back a few years,
yeah.
Okay? And Will is just a small, young lad, okay? And at age 15 is a busboy.
Busboy.
Yep. Okay? Like so many.
I guess.
Like so many of us in the restaurant space. And he crawled into crawl space of homes under construction to clean the scraps of construction work. I have no idea how that has to relate to the busboy, but I guess
he's grinding.
He was little.
He's a hustler.
He's a little busboy.
He's a grinder hustler.
Went to Davidson College, gets his degree in arts and crafts. Love the arts.
Yes,
love the arts.
Also known as history.
Yes, Bachelor of Arts.
Isn't that arts and crafts, Jimbo?
It's similar.
It's like camp. Yeah, like camp. They got pottery, they got all that stuff over there. The summer after college, Jimmy, he spent 3 months at Salsa Boy. Salsa Boy, or is it Salsa Boy? Yeah, the typing of this of these.
I was going to say, I was pretty sure that was Salsa Boy.
Yeah, but who am I to say? I'm reading. I'm like,
you're like Will Ferrell.
Yeah,
in Anchorman. Whatever's on the
teleprompter. Why run?
Whatever's on the teleprompter.
Yeah,
you're saying it.
You, Santiago. Why run?
Why would you do that?
So he's at Salsa Boy at Sierra Grill in Florida. He's working from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. I don't know what that has to do with anything. I know.
He's hustling.
Scheduling.
Yeah.
Scheduling. And he sold Cutco knives from Ronco in the afternoons.
You know who else sold Cutco knives?
Who?
Josh Goodman.
Josh Goodman.
He was a leading salesperson for Cutco, and now he's CEO.
But Cutco's not Ronco.
It's not Ronco.
Because Cutco is Cutco, not Ronco.
Not Ronco. Cutco.
Right? As seen on TV.
Yes.
But you know what? He doesn't love the knife business. Okay, he doesn't. And he goes into banking.
He always wanted to be a banker.
He always wanted to be a banker. His grandmother had always wanted him to be a banker.
Yes.
And he's banking for quite a few years, actually.
I will testify to that in court, by the way.
Yeah, your grandma wanted you to be a banker. And then he goes and does something else for like 8 years, some research, something. It was really not great. It wasn't exciting. And it was then that he had an aha moment, okay? He had an aha moment. It was 2008, okay? And now 16... Oh, the aha moment, by the way, it was scheduling. At the bank... He had no schedule. He had no idea what to come in when. He had no idea what was going on. He's like, what's my schedule? Don't worry about it, So he comes up with this whole ScheduleFly thing after work at Bank of America. They had no platform for scheduling. Am I allowed to say that? We bank with Bank of America. Is that going to affect our banking relationship that they had no schedule platform?
I think we just got locked out.
All right, well, listen. Let me bring him in. All right? Here we go. Chairman of the board, the founder, chairman of the board, CEO, president.
Give him more titles.
ScheduleFly. Will Brawley, here you go. 16 years later. First time, long time. Great to have you on the show.
That is one hell of an opening there, guys.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus. I'm exhausted.
Bella asked me if I was nervous, and I was like, no, except for these New York guys. They think fast, they talk fast. So, I'm going to try to keep up with these guys.
You'll do just fine.
Yeah. No, this is great having Will here. I mean, we've spoken many times with ScheduleFly. I mean, Jim, you got the swag.
I got the swag. We did a swag swap. Swag swap.
All right.
Swag swap 3 times fast.
Swag swap. It is great to have you here, and thank you for coming up to obviously visiting your daughter, and we love when guests come in person. Just a quick question before we really dive in. Did Shats get any of those things right about how do you become the co-owner of ScheduleFly and Will Brawley? Did he get your background? Was he kind of close?
He was super, super close. I wish that this were...
What did I get wrong?
Well, I wish this were my idea. There's 3 of us own this.
Where's your busboy, by the way? Where was your first busboy job?
That was in a restaurant in Charlotte, North Carolina, where I grew up.
Can we give a shameless plug? Is the place still open?
It's been closed for a long
What's
time.
the name?
Apparently, they had bad bus service.
Exactly.
I actually sucked at it. I'll be honest with you, I don't even remember the name of the
We'll
place.
make it up. Nobody knows.
It was
Mr. Jimmy's.
It was Mr.
It's not
Jimmy's.
Fenway's, because I was what came to my mind. They're still there. But yeah, I was a terrible busser. I was awful at bussing, and I didn't like my job. But my mom made me get a job, and I did it. And
Can I ask you a question? What were you bad at bussing? What was the... You just didn't do. You didn't bust the table.
You didn't like taking dirty tables. Besides taking dirty dishes off the table,
I loved it.
It was great.
15, it didn't make sense to me. Like, dude, you need to get out there and get that table. We're trying to turn this thing over. It was on Sunday brunch, and it was really busy after church on Sunday in Charlotte, and I was really slow and just didn't get it. Yeah,
it's like, my mom makes me clean up my
I'm doing this
stuff.
stupid job.
Why
My
am I
mom's making
cleaning
me do
yours?
it. Yeah.
Yes.
What did your mom do? Your mom didn't make you clean up. What am I doing here, right?
Wait, you mentioned you had two fellow founders, and you want to give them a little shout out, show some.
Well, yeah. I mean, look, this all came because that old research company that we worked at, First Research. There's 5 of us here in this company, and
that's where Will made all his money, by the way.
We had.
I failed to mention.
We all worked at First Research,
yeah.
And here we are, 17 years later, all working together. It's just 5 of us in this business.
Wow!
And we've had the same 5 the whole time.
Yeah.
Wes, who had the idea for ScheduleFly, Wes Aiken, used to write the schedule at the Bridge Tender Restaurant in Wrightsville Beach, North Carolina, and learned to write code. And he built what he would have liked to have had were he still working in a restaurant writing schedules. And that's what ScheduleFly started with. So Wes and Tyler Rollman and I are the owners of the business. I don't know how to write code. I'm sort of the face of the business, the relationship guy. I'm finance guy, I'm the relationship guy. Right? Yeah.
By the way, there you go. There's a new nickname for Will. He's the relationship guy.
I'm the relationship guy.
The relationship guy.
Relationship guy. All right.
Thank you.
Now we're going to dive in. You've taken a fascinating approach with ScheduleFly. Most companies, or many companies we work with, they want to try to be all things to all people.
Yeah.
Okay. They want to do everything, and you've specifically chosen to stay in a lane, and a very important one, and specifically focus on independent restaurants. You've turned down opportunities to work with larger chains. Most companies are trying to scale as quickly as possible, and you've developed this less is more approach, and staying focused on independence. How has that shaped your company's success?
Well, look, it's stymied our growth, I'm sure. But that's not really what we were after. What we were after was building a really simple product that our customers love, taking great care of them, and having a good balance in our lives. I mean, we went through an exit at First Research, saw what happened.
I told you that's where he made all his money.
And
we talked about it. He's very shy about it. Every time we bring it up, you notice how he goes into other directions. Every time I talk about, the big exit.
Well, how, you learn things, right? And you go, okay, well,
it's easy not to want a lot of big enterprise brands on your ScheduleFly when you had a 12-figure exit.
I wish, not quite. I'll tell you what, we did. It gave us the ability to be flexible because we bootstrapped this business, right? And so, we didn't pay ourselves a dime for years. But we had early on an opportunity for a contract that was going to be $250,000 a year. And we weren't even making that as revenue in the business at the time. And we turned it down. And the guy couldn't believe that we turned it down. But we realized, if we take that, that's our biggest customer. We are beholden to them, whatever they want us to do with the product. We're going to follow that.
Will, who was it? Tell us.
I can't say.
Come on.
But it was big enough that it would have been $250,000.
Don't tell Jimmy. Just tell me who was it.
So
Chats, you can keep secrets, by the way. Yeah, it's the people he tells that can't keep a secret.
The guy was really surprised when we said, look, thank you, but no thanks. That's not what we want to do.
What was his first name?
Michael.
Jimmy something. But yeah, so it was just that we wanted to be able to not have any customer have any real sway over what we wanted to do with the business. And we always felt like people will outgrow us, and they have from early days, and they still do. And that's fine. There's a lot, because of all these other companies trying to grow, and there's a lot of options if you need more than what we have. But if you just need something simple in your own Excel or your own pencil and paper or whatever, and you need a real simple tool that's affordable with great service, we're kind of that's it. That's our lane, that's our bucket, and that's where we live. And people have it for years, and then 10 years later, they've been with us, and they go, look, we need more now, and they outgrow us, and we're like, that's cool. Like, go find what makes you happy. We just want our customers to be happy. That's key.
I got to tell you, it's beautiful is what it is. And
no music for that? That was a beautiful moment.
Yeah, I mean,
you're probably about to say you guys are idiots.
No, I
think I know what you're going to play.
You know how much money you could have raised? And
it was beautiful. And I always bring a little something.
There it is. I knew that's what you play.
That's like when it get really
moments.
teary eyed. It's so beautiful. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Will Brawley, Restaurant Owners
Keeping it real.
Ladies and gentlemen, here he is live. Yeah. If you know it, hey, you can sing along.
Sing along.
And sway with us. Oh,
what a great
listen,
show.
All kidding
Cheers
aside.
would have been our customer, man. One location.
Yeah, no, Cheers is perfect. They worry. Fun fact. The original Cheers in Boston, I think on Boylston Street, I just made that up. It's close by. They were ScheduleFly's number 6, the 6th customer of ScheduleFly. People don't know that. That's why I put it on. It wasn't just that
You know who else didn't know that?
What?
Will didn't know that.
No, well, you know who knows? Wes. Because Wes was doing the hard work.
Okay.
Wes is coding. Wes was working on 5 artists, Jimmy. 4 did nothing. Wes did everything. These guys were counting their money, that first research exit. All right, listen. Let's just talk a little about, you are, as you said, you're a finance guy. You're a tech guy. You're a busboy guy. You're also a podcast guy. Restaurant Owners Uncorked. You've been doing that a long time. You've interviewed over 100,000 restaurant operators, I understand. And I think that's an amazing number. Because that would mean that you're in, like, Jimmy, how many days are there in a year?
I think 365. Unless it's leap year.
Yeah, exactly. You know a little something about leap year, right?
I know a little something.
Are you in one of those situations? Do you have a birthday this year or you don't have a birthday?
I do not have a birthday this year.
No, really?
It's so sad.
I have to wait to 2028 to have a birthday.
Jimmy had his 13th birthday
at
Duke's on the Upper East Side. And
February 29th, 2020. And it was days before they shut down.
Thank God we got that in. Because I got to tell you, that was a beautiful party.
That's fun.
It was literally Jimmy's bar mitzvah at age,
as 52.
52
at the time. Divide by 4 is 16.
Yeah.
Divide by 4 is 13. Sorry, 13. That was my 13th birthday. My bar mitzvah part 2.
It was really.
Wait, aren't you the finance guy?
My dad's like, you're paying for this one.
Yes.
I was the finance guy. 52.
Yeah. No, but listen. He uses a calculator. Okay, everybody uses a calculator. Let's just talk about the podcast and the unfiltered stories that you've shared. Can you give me some of your best guests, some of the best moments? I mean, it's been going on for a while. You've been having a blast with this, right?
I started the podcast back about 12 years ago, and nobody knew what a podcast was, and I had to beg people.
But they didn't call it a podcast back then, did they?
We started out actually embedding audio files into our blog before we could actually.
So there was no word podcast.
There was a word podcast, but nobody knew what it was.
Yeah.
I listened to podcasts. I listened to Tim Ferriss. And I was like, this is cool. I bet we could do this with restaurant owners. And that's when it started. And nobody knew what it was. I had to beg people to come on it.
And it had the same name? Or
yeah.
Restaurant Owners
Uncorked. Like uncorking that wine.
Yeah, no, I get it. But it really was just... digital
conversation.
Ahead of your time.
Ahead of the time, we did 2 self-published books from content from the podcast where I thought the best stories that we got out of that, the most successful owners, and the ones I was most inspired by. We self-published a book in 2010 called Restaurant Owners Uncorked. And then we did a second one 5 years later.
So is it fair to say that here on the Hospitality Hangout today, that we have as a guest the first podcaster ever in the history of all podcasts? Is that fair to say? Because
we have one of the godfathers, one of the founding fathers.
100%. I mean, who was doing about 12 years ago? I mean, come on.
It's certainly for our industry. Certainly for the restaurant industry.
A founding father. Industry.
We should get Will on a
I'm telling you right now, we have the first podcaster ever in the history on our show.
He's not old enough for that, but I guess he did do it.
You said industry's favorite son. I think that's funny because I'd say more like dad or grand. I'm 50, so I got a white beard here. Look, you know what? Here's the thing, guys. We learned from this industry, your industry.
Our industry.
We learned from y'all what okay, so we take our business model, which is like, it very much resembles what a great independent restaurant does, or really any restaurant. But number one, you got to have this consistent product, right? Like every day you got to execute. Your product's got to be consistent, reliable. Okay, so that's our software. Number two, you got to take really good care of your guests. You got to make them feel welcome, make them feel appreciated so that they want to come back. Number three, this is the piece where I was struggling at first because all restaurant owners and operators
go back to number one. I'm sorry, I want to write this down.
Seriously?
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Again, naive Southerner. So the third one is restaurants give back to their communities, right? Like LA wildfires. Who's out there? You got police, you got firefighters, you got restaurant owners. Like up in the North Carolina mountains, like what do? They always give to their community. And we thought, well, how do we do that? Well, one thing we could do is we could give content, right? Like we can take content, share stories of people that do this well, and educate and inspire restaurateurs. And that was like, we modeled it very purposely after. That's our way of trying to get back to the community.
I love it. Jimmy, you just wrote something down. I want to see what you wrote down versus what I wrote down. Because you were obviously writing some things that he said that resonated with you.
Yeah,
I wrote something back.
I was writing a note that said, Shetsy, don't interrupt Will while he's talking.
No, what were you going to
I wrote down, I wrote backwards. I wrote 3, give to the community, 2, give good service, and then 1 was the food. And I think it was the did I capture
product? You got
the product,
like reliable execution every day.
The service and the give to the community. I was writing his top 3.
I wrote down 3 things also. What I took away from that was that like restaurant owners are like policemen, firemen, and restaurant owners. That's like basically Will just said that restaurant owners, like we are up there with like police and firemen.
Well, think of during COVID. You had the restaurant workers and grocery workers were essential employees. They were allowed.
But there was a time. Hey, not for nothing. I don't want to go back, but there was a time that we weren't. We were considered. I don't remember when you go to the grocery store, but you couldn't eat inside a restaurant because it wasn't really that
essential.
It was essential that you come and make food for us.
Yes,
but it's not that.
We're not going to let people come into your restaurant.
Yeah.
No, but I like that. And
that was BS too. Like I hated that. I thought that was completely wrong. And yeah, you're very essential because what makes a great community? Name any great community from New York to Charleston. I don't care. Pick a small town, whatever. There's always, if you say, why is that place great? Restaurants are going to be in everybody's top 5.
I would say, yeah, I think that anytime you talk about traveling anywhere, and we're going to go to a city, and you get inevitably someone's going to say, oh my God, I got a great restaurant for you. That usually would happen. I'm going to Paris. Oh my God, I got a great place for you. I'm going to LA. I got a great restaurant. Isn't it?
Absolutely.
You don't say, oh my God, what a museum. I mean, you might, but that's not, I'll tell you, restaurants are number 1.
They are.
Family.
Yeah, dude, they're very important. I believe that for sure.
It's a unique industry in how personal it is to folks. They want to come in, they want to have an experience, and it's the food, it's the people, it's how they're treated. And I love the give back. I thought that was great. I wrote those 3 things down because I'm always looking for inspiration for weekend editions of the Weekend Update, the hospitality headline. Hey, Will, I want to ask you. You balance. You've written about an interesting paradox in restaurants between the battle of passion and practicality. Mm-hmm. From your conversations with so many operators, you've seen how often they can get caught up in the romance, the beauty, the art, the creativity of the restaurant, but they also have to remember, and maybe sometimes they forget, that it is math and there's business fundamentals. So while some are so focused on the systems, you can also lose the soul of the restaurant. So Shatsy's like, is there a question here, Jimmy? You're just going to pontificate. Here's the question. How do you help operators find that balance?
How do I help operators find that balance?
How does ScheduleFly? How can you help them find that balance?
Well, I think that many of our customers are in that space where they're trying to find the right balance of having just enough technology to do things more efficiently and to do things well, but they are wanting to focus a lot of their energy on their guests, right? Mm-hmm. Like they're not leaning too much into again, we serve a lot of mom and pops,
sure,
small franchisees or whatever that don't need a lot of tech. That is the trick though, isn't it? Like finding the balance of having the right tools and the right tech that free you up to then focus on the people, because this is a people business. Plain and simple, AI can all this stuff at the end of the day It's about people, and you know, people are what make the experience great. The tech is important and it matters and it helps, but if it's got to free your people up to be focused on the interaction that they're having with that guest, to be present, intentional, and make them feel welcome, right? Like,
there you go.
And every operator has their own way of doing that. There is no right tech stack.
Will shoot these scores again. That's a hangout first. Our guest has brought 2 cheers.
Will. I mean, the guy is really eloquent. The way a second cheers moment.
Second cheers never happened.
Never happened
on the podcast.
No, but you know what?
I'm like Sam here. Like I'm you know, and you got.
But you know what? You are the first podcast guy ever, so it seems that you would know what
the first one in history.
Yeah, so it seems that you would know what resonates.
The forum.
Basically, invented the podcast. So it stands to reason. I got to tell you, I really, it's good stuff. It really is, because sometimes you can smush it up with too much.
Yeah, look, we're not a tech industry. You know, I know we're not a tech industry.
Right.
When the single biggest delivery company, Domino's, the single biggest food delivery company in the world, they'll pay you $3 to get off your sofa and come get your own pizza. We're not a tech industry. We're a people business. We're a food and beverage business, and then we could be tech supported, tech enabled, whatnot. But we're people in food. So
listen, we were at Leg Express having a delicious lunch today.
Oh yes.
The server came up. Did you see what the server had in her hand?
An iced tea for you.
Oh no, I mean after I got the iced tea. I'm talking about the
handheld device.
Using the Toast tablet right there.
Toast tablet.
You know,
you're sneaking that one in for Toast. I like that.
Yeah. Look at you. I did that. But you know what? It's nice. It was nice to see that because, you know, in certain instances, just, you know, especially lunch is an easier, maybe less modification, et cetera, than dinner. Sometimes the servers aren't loving the handhelds when a bigger table and a more complicated service, you know, because it's small. But, you know, when they can, they use that. And, boy, I got to tell you, it makes it a lot easier to pay and get the order. So there's an opportunity. It's very simple tech, and it's terrific. I love it. Listen, we got a lot to get to, and I know we're short on time, so I got to take a quick break, if that's okay. And we are going to get back. We're going to come back with Hot or Not and Branded Quickfire. But first, we got to take a quick break, so I got to play something on the to get out to take us to a break. I don't know what this is.
Smooth jazz.
Yeah. All right, quick break. We'll be right back. Okay, and now we're back. Here we go.
Doing Hot or Not?
Yeah, we're going into a little Hot or Not. Here we go. Are you ready?
Here we go. The game works.
We're going to ask you, I'm going to throw out a couple of words, and you're going to say hot or not. It's pretty easy. Do you understand how Hot or Not works?
I'm getting there. Yes, a little bit slow, but I think I'm getting up to speed. I'm feeling
yes.
Yeah, man.
All right.
Feeling good.
QR code menus, Mr. Will Brawley, OG of the podcasting world.
QR code menus?
Yes.
For a guy that has a flip phone, I'd say no.
Good point. Well, I didn't even tell everybody. We'll have to talk about we'll have to show everybody your phone. AI hiring tools.
Ooh. Hot or not? Hot.
Cloud-based point of sale.
Hot.
Restaurant influencers.
Not.
Jimbo? I mean, I think the cloud-based point of sale, I mean, are there still, I guess there are still point of sale that are not.
Yeah. I like the face Will made on when you asked about restaurant influencers. And I know that wasn't, you weren't talking about celebrities and whatnot, but to a certain extent, there's been this whole push for celebrity-owned brands and influencers and whatnot. And Will, you gave that a kind of not. You want to expand on that one a little bit or share some thoughts on that?
Well, I should say this. If I had a restaurant, maybe I would I'd like to have influencers too. Mm-hmm. But I think that's also can sometimes possibly be a distraction away from just like, let's just focus on what's going on inside our four walls and just nail that every day and let everybody not worry about this outside stuff. But I don't know what I'm talking about. That. So
listen,
I'm in agreement with you. I find the best referral I can get is from, I'm going to a city and Shatsy just came from there and I ask him, or I speak to friends and people I know and trust, or if I see a friend I know and trust and they're not an influencer, but if I see that they posted a nice experience or they shared a photo, that to me means a ton, because to me the credibility of anything else I have to question. And if it's one of my friends doing it, I'm going to actually say, oh, well, I'm glad they had a good time. And that'll mean more to me. Take care of your guests, take care of your people. And I think that's a good thing.
I think that influencers and a lot of things, PR, marketing, whatever, like if you focus on that a lot, it'll probably work to get people in your door.
100%, yeah.
But the question is what happens when they get there, right?
Yeah, you
So
can't trust anyone who gets paid for endorsements. Toast point of sale, by the way. It's phenomenal. I got to tell you, if you haven't used Toast point of sale,
my Pepsi?
I'm going to tell you, but you're going to have another story here. Anybody that's getting paid for any type of endorsements, I got to tell you, you really have to question their integrity, Jimmy.
There you go.
This story is absolutely delicious, Jimmy. I'm
Was
having
it delivered by DoorDash?
Yes, DoorDash actually brought us a 6-pack of Starries, and we used our Toast point of sale to place the order, Jimmy. But again, I agree with you that you don't really want any type of endorsements. It's disgusting, and I don't play that game. Let's get on to a quick. Let's go
into that one.
Which came first? All right, let's go real quick. Which came first? Are you ready for a little which came first? We got to get some music here for which came first. I don't have any music, so we're just going to play this, okay? We're going to go which came first in the food service world. Okay, I'm going to give you 2 items, and you tell me which came first. Online restaurant reservations or online restaurant reviews? Reservations or reviews? What happened first?
Reservations.
Reservations, actually. Jimmy, care to guess?
I would care to guess, but actually I have the answers. So I gotta be honest. I gotta be honest.
I know you're honest.
I'm honest.
But yes, reservations actually 1998.
I was very proud of Will. He nailed that one.
And reviews 99.
That was only like a year apart. That's tight.
Yeah, it's gotta be like Open Table 98. I suspect.
That's what I was thinking.
There you go.
Which came first, the Big Mac or the Whopper?
Big Mac.
Want to ask me to guess, Yahtzee?
Jimmy, you care to guess?
You know what? I don't know why this number flashed in my head. I'm going the Whopper in 1957.
I got to tell you, Jimbo, he brought his A game. Yeah,
really?
The actual
answers were put on my. I was given the answers ahead of time.
10 years
I didn't
early.
know. I didn't know I was going to play.
The Whopper 1957.
10 years
the
early.
Big Mac 1967.
How about that?
Well, I know the Big Mac was named by a franchise operator of McDonald's. They didn't come up with the Big Mac.
Yep.
So the Whopper was first. Which came first? Arby's or Wendy's?
Ooh, I'm gonna go with Arby's. Arby's.
Nice, well played on that switch.
I didn't kick him or anything.
1964, Wendy's. 1969.
I went with my first instinct. I have no idea what I'm telling you.
I gotta tell you, that was some really good stuff. I wasn't keeping score. It was really more just
good, clean fun.
Good, clean fun. Good, clean fun. Wholesome fun over there, Jimmy.
Fun.
I think we're gonna have to take out the that you get the answers the next time.
I encourage that. I think I should be guessing.
Less fun.
I looked down and I saw the answers. I felt like that game. What was that movie about a game show where the person's cheating, like he was giving the answers? I didn't want to.
Oh yeah, no, that was good with John Turturro.
And Ralph Fiennes. I think Ray Fiennes.
Yeah. It was, come on, man.
I know, don't worry. It'll frustrate you. Don't worry. You don't have to look it up either.
Oh, you can Google it. Hey, Siri.
I just spelled.
What was that movie with Ray Fiennes? Will, can you look that up on your Can you look that up on your iPhone, your flip iPhone?
I just wanted to be honest. I didn't want to pretend
Game
like I knew.
Game show.
I didn't want to pretend that I knew.
It was a great movie.
I didn't want to pretend I knew all these answers.
I think that was an Oscar winner. How about them apples?
You like apples?
I think it was an Oscar winner.
All right.
Where's Julie when I need her to answer? Drew, are you doing something?
The whole team is downstairs at Isabel's right now.
Yeah, having cocktails. I'm busting my ass up here on this podcast. It's not fair.
Like Jimmy and
Julie,
the studio.
Drew, can you get me some information here? I mean, she's crying out loud. I'm struggling here. All right, here we go. Jimbo. All
right, at the top.
Let's get right into it.
At the top of the show, we played. I gave you 3 factoids about our friend Will. Remember, 2 are true, 1's not. Chatsy's going to guess which, and then Will will share some stories. Fact 1: Will's family drove an RV from Charlotte, North Carolina, to Boulder, Colorado, and the family flew home and made Will drive back by himself. Fact 2: Will's a tractor driver. Fact 3: Will only has 9 toes. There you go.
All right. I think that Will drove in an RV. I got no problem with that.
By himself.
Don't look at him.
By himself in an RV, drove home. I'm not saying never drove in an RV.
No. I think I got that.
All right, so that's true.
This 9-toe thing, like someone else had 9 toes. Is this something that like everyone has 9 toes? I'm the only have a 10? Like how many every day I meet someone with 9 toes? Is this like weird?
Well, try driving a tractor around and you might find out. You might wind up with 9
Did he lose a toe in a track?
That's the question. That's the question. I think that's kind of part of the question.
With you. I mean, if you're gonna lose a toe in a track, there's a place to do it. I feel like
we should earned it.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Why can't Will drive a tractor? Why not? I don't think Will has 9 toes. I think he's got 10 toes.
All right, you're saying, well, that's
Bank of America, by the way. He worked at Bank of America. I happen to know for a fact, by friends of mine, that they don't hire people with less than what?
I was trying to stop you from saying something that was
what?
You can't pick on less than 10-toe people. We're not shaming. We're not shaming here.
Shaming.
You think Bank of America doesn't hire?
In 1990 something, they didn't.
Well, anyway,
it's a question on the
all right. So Will Schatzy's locked in his votes. He says you did drive home from Boulder by yourself after your family flew home. He says you can drive a tractor, and to be clear, he's saying you don't have 9 toes. You might have 8, but you don't have 9. That the words matter said not 9. So what is Schatzy correct, sir?
He's correct. There are still 10 toes on there. I have had quite a few issues with learning to drive my tractor since we moved to our farm, and I thought that maybe you would pick the first one because to this day I can't believe my family ditched me. My wife and my 3 kids.
Can I hear the story?
Yes.
I know what I'm thinking, but I want you to tell me.
I was Clark Griswold. I thought it was going to be a great idea. I thought we would all love it. We got this RV and we drove it from Waxhaw, North Carolina, right south of Charlotte, all the way out to Boulder, Colorado, to stay with Dave and Dana Query, who have a Big Red F restaurant group out there. Mm-hmm. And
what happened?
I had the best time ever. Apparently my family didn't, so we were sitting at lunch one day. We were out there 3 or 4 days, and they all got kind of quiet, and they're all looking at me, and I'm like,
Can I ask you a question before you go on? This is really interesting to me.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the RV. Like, how big? What are we talking?
It was huge.
It was beautiful.
It was big, beautiful.
Was it a Winnebago? Like a Bago?
No, I mean it had a stove, it had a refrigerator, it had a shed, it had everything you need. Like we were all.
And how was it? Family of 4 or 5?
35 feet long.
And how many people?
Family of 5. Yeah.
So 5. So this Bago was built for 5, 6. What was it built for?
Oh, you could put 8 people in this
8
thing.
people.
We had
5. So it was plenty of room.
Plenty of room.
And it was a nice Bago. Like it wasn't nice. Like you didn't cheapen up. It was like a Clark Griswold.
Very high end RV. Yes.
Beautiful RV.
Yes.
Okay, so now go ahead. So it's a nice RV. Get over there to Boulder.
We spent 4 days going out to Boulder. I thought it was fantastic, and we had been there for a couple of days, and we were about a day or 2 out from leaving, and my family was all real quiet at lunch, and they were kind of looking at me like y'all are right now, going like, I'm like, well, all right, I'll bite. Like, what's going on? And my wife goes, we
took a vote.
We don't want to go back in the RV, and I was like, well, okay, but like we're going back in the RV because we rented the RV. And she said, well, can't you get somebody to tow it? I said, how many times have you seen an RV? No, I can't.
I think it was a legitimate question. I agree. Why couldn't you get someone to tow it?
We bought, we got them plane tickets and I dropped them off at the airport in Denver.
With the RV?
No, I took Dave's car and took them down there. And I stuck around Boulder for a couple of days by myself, went on some hikes. I went down to Santa Fe, New Mexico, and hung out there for a few days. I had like 7 days to get this thing back.
What year was this, Will?
So I actually had a fun time.
What year was this?
This was like 4 years ago.
This is recent.
Yes,
so this is still
2021, 2022.
Oh, so this is still raw.
This is still an open wound.
Yeah, this is still an open wound.
We got to talk to Will's daughter.
We talked to Bella about this. Yes, they all abandoned me. I actually tried to talk each kid into coming with me, just like for one-on-one time.
One-on-one. This is a great moment.
Nope, they all bailed.
Yeah, I got to be honest with you. So when they told you they didn't want to go back, were you thinking they were kidding around?
At first I did, yeah. At first I thought, well, it doesn't matter because we're all going and we rented this thing. Like, what do you think? Like, you're not going to fly.
But what happened on the drive out? You thought it was a great time. Clearly they didn't. So there must have been, if I have to turn around, I mean, was there any of that?
I love you. Listen, my wife lived in Kansas for a while. I love you if you're from Kansas, but I think Kansas killed us. If you drive through Kansas on I-70, you spend an entire day seeing cornfields and soybean fields and some wind farms over and over. And that was like when my kids were like, I'm out. Like
Parliament.
I mean, literally. We actually were saying that. I was like, look, kids, cornfields. Soybean
fields. Windmill.
When you plan this out, when you plan this trip out on Google Maps and you're going, you're looking, Did you not think about that?
No, man. I just thought this is going to be great. They'll love it. It'll be fun.
So everyone thought going in,
everybody thought it was
awesome.
We were all on board. Everybody was on board. My wife was not by the first night. She's off. But I thought the kids, like I was pretty surprised they all bailed on me.
It's kind of like the college drive down to Florida. Like, we'll drive to Florida. It'd be great. By the way, by the time
halfway down, South
18 hours later,
and it's like we're dumping this car. We're flying home.
I mean, for $129, you could have flown down here. What am I? I mean, you could always get a flight, Spirit Air or something, right? I mean, right? I mean, yeah. It seems like. Well, I got to tell you, I'm sorry to hear that story a little bit. I mean, I got to tell you. I mean, we got to get Bella in here and made her dad drive back, but you ended up hanging out.
You know what? Will had some quality time with a very important person himself.
Yeah, no,
He had some me time.
Yeah. So on the drive home, did you do anything crazy?
On the drive home, I went places that we would not have gone. So I'd always wanted to go to Santa Fe. I never had been. Sounded cool. I went and hung out in Santa Fe for like 3 days by myself.
See, maybe I'm trying to think like the map now. In Colorado. Now, Santa Fe, you got to go down, right?
And west.
Yeah, see, I'm thinking maybe the mistake was that driving through. You got to keep them entertained. You got to hit major cities.
Okay. Since I'm in New York and you guys, I can tell you this story. So the last night.
You tell us anything.
The last night of my
safe space, just us.
Safe space. Nobody else is going to listen. All right. So the last night of the trip, I was.
Was this with the family? Without?
No, I'm by myself at this point. I left Oxford, Mississippi that day. I went there, hung out, saw a customer, went to a cool bookstore, tried it. It's like the biggest independent bookstore in the country. And I'm driving home and I'm going through Atlanta. I think I'm going to make it the rest of the day. Like I'll be home at about 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning.
Right. Get
to Atlanta. There'd been a lot of traffic late at night, wreck, whatever. And I said, okay, I know that you can pull an RV into a Walmart or a Cracker Barrel. Like if you don't have an RV lot reserved, like you're allowed to just go roll up on the set and park in these things. So I saw a Cracker Barrel, went to Cracker Barrel.
Sure, sounds great.
Closed curtains, batten down the hatches. I'm cooking up a steak and somebody's knocking on the door, side of the door of the RV. I'm like, well, that's kind of weird. Maybe it's the general manager telling me not to park here. We're just on the outskirts of Atlanta, still pretty dense area. So they keep knocking. Finally open the door. This young lady is standing there and she says, are you by yourself? I was like, can I help you? She goes, well, can I get a cigarette? Do you have a cigarette? And I said, no, I don't. And I started to close the door and she grabs it and she goes, okay, look, could I just charge my iPhone on your RV? I'm like, ma'am, I'm sorry. No, thank you. And I started to close it. She grabs the door again and she goes, I'm good people. I'm not trying to get money from you.
You know what bad people say? I'm good people.
You know what she said? She said, you look like you're by yourself. Would you like some company? And I said, shit. Slammed the door, turned the stove off, got through and got in that RV and just took off.
I see.
I called my wife. I was like, you're not going to freaking believe what just happened to me.
Professional.
It was a professional.
Yep. Professional down there in Mississippi.
They call them like night stalkers. They go to Cracker Barrel and Walmart parking lots because a lot of truckers park there. Yeah. And it's a thing. I didn't know. I had no idea, but now I know.
I didn't even know RV could park at Cracker Barrel without.
Yeah, I think that's a big selling feature at the Barrel.
I didn't know that.
Park at the Cracker Barrel.
Yeah. Appreciate the Cracker Barrel. I did not know that. I did not know that was an area that is frequented by the ladies of the night.
She was on the clock.
On the clock.
She had been scheduled to be there at that time.
No, I've read
ScheduleFly. We have all kinds of customers, man. If we need to schedule people and make it easy for them, then
It makes a lot of sense, though. It makes a lot of sense. They probably mark you coming in. They see there's no family, lonely guy driving by himself in an RV.
He was just having some me time.
Who the hell does that, This guy must be, probably divorced. Wife threw him out, he's got the RV.
I looked like Easy Prey.
I
looked like Easy Prey.
Yeah. She said, this guy is going to be late taking candy from a baby. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah. I got to jump into a real quick branded quick fire. Are you ready, Jimbo?
Yes, I'm ready.
All right, here we go.
It'll turn out for me.
What? Will, are you ready for branded quick fire?
I'm ready.
All right, here we go. I'm going to ask you 5 lightning round questions. Don't think too hard because I'm getting yelled at left and right here. What's your favorite show to binge watch right now?
Right now, I actually just watched Mad Men again.
Nice. Mad Men, yeah, it's a good show. Jimmy's definitely
I've never seen it, but I know it's a good show.
Netflix or Hulu? Where we go? Netflix. Always on Netflix.
Netflix.
Always Netflix.
Yep.
No.
I have it, but I'm not a big fan.
But you have to have everything.
Yeah, you gotta have it
Because there's going to be something.
Cutting the cord didn't save no money, but yeah.
I'm up to $2,000 a month.
Yeah.
I'm up to $2,000 a month. Who's your number one artist on Spotify right now? Who are you listening to?
Sturgill Simpson.
Who's that? No, I don't know who that is. I know.
I'm gonna look it up.
What's that? What is Sturgill Simpson?
I'm not surprised y'all don't know who Sturgill.
If I had my phone, I'd get him up.
He's a brilliant. You would put him somewhere in
genre?
the outskirts of country and bluegrass.
Yeah, I know. I love him country.
He is a brilliant musician.
All right.
Yeah.
Sturgill.
If you were a musician, you would know who Sturgill Simpson is. That tells me you guys are not musicians. Yep.
No. But I like music and I do like country, so I will definitely check it out. All right, here we go. Airline loyalty or hotel loyalty? What are you going with?
Ooh. Lately, hotel loyalty because I'm sick of flying. I don't like flying anymore.
So you're going hotel loyalty.
Yep.
And what's your go-to?
Marriott.
Envoy.
And what is your airline?
Are they one of your sponsors too?
We're hoping.
Shameless.
Well, I'm out of Charlotte, so you kind of have to have American.
Is that American?
95% of the
We're
flights.
American Airlines, doing what we do best.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of American right now.
Oh, really?
No,
I'm not a big fan of Shatsy Jingles.
Oh, really? Oh, all right. If you were to challenge Jimmy Rock to a game of beer pong, who do you have better odds? Oh, no, Jimmy just perked up. Oh, look at Mr. Sleepy. Just perked up. Who do you have better chance of beating in beer pong? Who are you going to beat in beer pong?
Oh, he's going to kick my ass because I haven't had a sip of alcohol in about 2 years now. So
Jimmy
he's going to crush me.
Beat your.
Yeah, but the question is, but who
are you going to beat?
Which one of us? Who do you have a better chance of beating between Shats and me?
Yeah,
it's really not. It's less about you. It's more about who you're going to beat. Who do you have better odds of beating if you're playing Shats or myself?
Yeah, and I don't think alcohol really has anything to do with it.
This guy.
Yeah.
Oh, you're going to beat me?
Yeah. I'm going to beat you.
Yeah.
All right.
I agree.
You haven't had a drink in 2 years. I mean, doesn't that going to
still beat you?
We can play.
Hey, but if he hadn't had a drink in 2 years, right? His first beer, he is going to get so mud.
And that's the point.
He's still beating you.
That's okay. Really? We can play Pepsi Pong.
Pepsi Pong.
Oh, really?
From Pepsi.
All right. Yeah, see, that's what we could have done. Exactly.
Pepsi Pong.
All right, listen, Jimbo, we got to wrap things up over here. You got any last minute house cleaning? Because I've got a few announcements that I'm going to have to make at some point here, and I have very little time.
No, I just want to, again, Will, I want to thank you so much for joining us, coming up to B-Works, being here in studio with us, bringing your lovely daughter to meet us, and this has been great fun. Thank you for the swag. I'm glad we did a little branded ScheduleFly hat swap, and thank you for all the good work you're doing for this industry. You are loved by your customers, and I think they particularly appreciate your customer service. So the product works, the service is outstanding, and I'm going to learn more and more about what you're giving back to the community. But thank you for everything.
Here it is. That's three in one episode. I love it.
Thank you.
If even Jimmy can Jimmy can bring it.
If any of our listeners, and particularly independent restaurants, want to get in touch with Will directly, you can email the podcast team at podcast@brandedstrategic.com, and we'd be happy to make the connection.
Yeah.
And again, Will, thank you for coming up and doing this with us, and congrats to all your success over a decade and a half.
Thank you.
No small feat.
It's unbelievable.
Pass it over to Shaq to close this out.
Yeah, it's been unbelievable. I got to tell you, we got a couple. This has been, a great guest. Am I right, Jimbo?
Again, one of the industry's favorite sons.
The guy's been doing podcasts like 250 years. Unbelievable. 100,000 guests, 200 years, 250. It's unbelievable. Next week, we are going to be joined by the Chief Marketing Officer of Resorts World, Jimbo.
Wow.
Resorts World from fabulous Las Vegas, Mr. Ron Nicoli, CMO, Chief Marketing Officer, Jimbo. And if that's not big enough, we got Mike Fiato from the Compass Group. I don't know what his title is, but apparently there are lots of C's, there's E's, there's O's, V's, P's. It's a very big deal. Mike Fiato of the Compass Group. You're not going to want to miss this one. So I got to tell you, everybody, if you haven't already subscribed to the podcast, well, do it, okay? And check us out on YouTube, okay?
Just do it.
And Hangout. And check out our newsletter, hospitalityheadline.com. Check it all out. Cheers, everybody.